And you must be at this point, if you're still watching, you're like, this guy is crazy. This guy is absolutely insane. He's talking about printing money and stuff. And I'm like, no, no, no. Bear with me. I told you. Wait until we get to the end, or wait until you've heard the entire story before making any conclusions that I'm completely off my rocker. I might be a little bit insane, but hopefully not completely and totally beyond any sort of beyond any sort of redemption. So, how much can it print? And I was thinking, okay, how much? Like $1 million a day, $1 million an hour, $1 million. I used dollars in my mind because that was the first thing that came into my mind. It's not really dollars. It's not just relax. It's just that was the name. I was like, it's the currency itself has to have its own name. So yes, I was thinking in dollars because I also was like, okay, but what about rands? You in South Africa, you use rands, and I was like, no, the numbers I'm about to speak are too big. Like dollars are a lot easier to measure. That makes the numbers smaller. Like if I did this, if I did what I'm about to suggest in like Japanese yen or something, the numbers would be so big. Like the Excel will start giving you like scientific notation and stuff to measure those numbers. Like that's how many zeros they'll have and stuff. So that's why I was thinking about this very deeply. I was like, what is it? Is it $1 million a day, $1 million an hour? And I stopped at a figure of $219 billion a year as an example. I stopped there. And it's like $219 billion a year. Why stop there? Why not go higher? Why not go into the trillions? Because when doing the calculations or whatever, I was like, okay, but you're just naming numbers now. Where are you going to spend all that money? It's no good. You're printing all this money, and now you've got really nowhere to spend it all, or you've got too much of it. You end up in like a Zimbabwe situation where you're printing billions and it's worth nothing. I mean, obviously that's where we're starting right now. Right now it could be anything, and it's theoretically worthless. But this is the idea phase, this is the prototype phase. It should be. It's as it should be right now while I'm explaining this. Because if we just run away with ideas, they're going to get away from us. And it's like still sounding crazy, Warren, still sounding insane. And I'm like, I know, right now, with the information that I've given, it does sound insane. But yes, I stopped at $219 billion a year just for the sake of manageable numbers. And I was like, okay, if it's doing that, where are you going to spend this money? Where are you going to give it? What's going to happen? And then I thought, okay, what about, and I started thinking about actual numbers, like, oh, what if we give this many million away, or this many million away, and give that, and pay for this, and pay for that, and that just didn't work. And then I thought, what about percentages? What do you mean percentages? What if we hand out percentages of that money printed every year? It's like, why percentages? Why distribute the money in percentages? Because it became more manageable for me from my perspective. It became more manageable when looking at this and designing this. Because this is a whole separate project that I'm talking about. Remember all the stuff I was talking about, all the stores, all the schools, all of that, there's costs involved, and I've thought about that stuff. So, how do we distribute it? What if we do it in percentages? And this is where it got very interesting, because I started naming companies. What if we give certain companies percentages of that money it's printing every year? So then I ended up drawing up a list of around 150 or so parent companies. They are parent companies who have thousands of subsidiaries underneath them. Parent companies. And then you might be like, subsidiary, what is that? What is a subsidiary? And I'm like, a subsidiary is a company that falls underneath a parent company that owns it. So, like, for example, in the news, maybe recently you've been seeing that Netflix want to buy Warner Brothers. Now, Warner Brothers used to be a subsidiary, or it might still be, I haven't really checked recently, but it might still be a subsidiary of AT&T. And there's all those dynamics involved that I was like, when designing this, I was like, parent companies pretty much only. That's all I'm really interested. Like Google, this is Alphabet. Like Alphabet, like is pretty much the parent company of Google. That's something I learned while doing this. I was like, what the hell? What's Alphabet? And then I was like, whoa, what the? And it's just like a revelation. Yeah. So, yeah, parent. And it's like, Alphabet is the parent company of Google, whatever. And I'm like, I don't know if that's changed or if that's still the thing. It was at the time, many years ago, when I was designing, when I was thinking about that stuff. So, but yes, I'm just explaining what a subsidiary is. So I used parent companies only when distributing percentages of that $219 billion. For now, that number can go higher or lower, depending on what people need. But out of that $219 billion, certain companies get certain percentages of it. How did I choose them? They're companies that I like, or that influenced me, or as growing up, and that inspired me, and just they had an effect on my life. So this was like a way of giving back, even though it's worthless at the moment. At the moment. And it's like, so what are the percentages? What did you give Microsoft? And what did you give Meta and Google or Alphabet or Apple? What did you give? I'm not saying that here. I'm not saying that online in public. Like, I've designed it my way, and just in a way that's stable. And I won't say that here because that would also be boring. It will turn into like a budget speech or something. No. So percentages, and then obviously until all that money was used up, the whole $219 billion a year was used up. And it's like, but if you're giving it to the companies, how's In Your Head Productions going to pay? No, that's also in the budget. Buildings, maintenance for those buildings, and obviously staff. Staff make up a percentage of that budget. And it's like, whatever, it still sounds insane. And I'm like, hang on. It might also, like, you might only catch this, they're only minute-long snippets, and I've done it like this on purpose, that it's like a little bit confusing. So that those who need to see it can watch the whole thing, they watch my whole presentation, and they'll figure it out. They'll start to see a picture of what I'm saying. But why give companies percentages? And I'm like, because firstly, need a way to distribute the money. Second of all, it's a show of good faith, because In Your Head Productions is not interested in being a monopoly, or like that everybody must use In Your Head Productions, In Your Head Productions does everything. I want those companies to exist and to carry on doing what they're doing, because they are good at it. I mean, I want Microsoft to keep making Windows. I want Apple to keep making their phones and all their other media. I want Google to be the search engine and have all the things. And I want companies to continue doing things the way they've been doing. So that's why I put those, because those companies are also going to be essential in the development of In Your Head Productions. That's the way I see it. And integrating all those systems together, and different platforms, different operating systems, different this, that, there's so much to think about when it comes to an application as advanced as this that I'm pitching right now. So that's why those companies are there. Like, they're there. There's no good being angry about it.